So we have two questions for you, and they're quite interesting. So one question is from Veena Jain. She says, "Is artificial consciousness possible?"
I'm not an expert in AI, but what I do know is whatever the form of artificial intelligence is directed at, it is coded digitally by the coder. And therefore, the intelligence expressed will be relative to the intelligence of who created that code. Our consciousness, remarkably and beautifully, is directly at one with the underlying intelligence that is the essence of everything that exists in the expanded universe. And that intelligence is coordinating the structure and activity of every single atom in the universe, combining some to form plants, water, air, earth, animals, insects, people, cultures. So we will never achieve a level of intelligence that reflects that universal quality through software coding, in my opinion. It can be highly helpful in terms of creating a very sophisticated machine that could manage things that have become very complex and tedious for most people. But I don't know about self-awareness, which transcends physicality entirely. And we can know it because the essence of our life is it. Whereas the essence of the machine is human-made and more limited. So I don't know. I'm not really qualified to answer that, but that's the kind of speculation that runs through my mind when I have read about AI.
So the next question is quite practical. Somebody, Mr. Tilak, is asking. He's saying that he sleeps around 11:30 and then he seems to wake up around 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning. And then he had a hard time to focus, gather his mind, and try to be resting again peacefully. So do you have any ideas or suggestions on people who go through those?
Yeah, Tilak, going to bed earlier will be very helpful. Now that is going to take time. You won't achieve that shift in one day. Maharishi always advocated that if you have a bad habit or a habit that you want to change and it's long-standing, then you do it in small steps. So go to bed at 11:15 for a week, and then go to bed at 11, and then keep bringing it down. Now, we teach the TM technique to people suffering from PTSD. Typically military veterans who have been in war and they're in a hyperadrenal state and they're in a highly defensive mode, and it's very hard to come out of that in civilian life. They're locked into it from years of being hypervigilant. And people with PTSD have trouble sleeping and so forth. And one of the mechanisms that Maharishi Mahesh Yogi teaches for people with severe stress is if you wake up in the middle of the night and your mind is agitated, don't get up and read books or take a walk or something like that. Just remain lying with your eyes closed and let your mental awareness shift to your body to see if you notice any physical sensation of tension or discomfort in the body. And if you do, you just let your mind feel it in a very innocent way. You don't try to suppress it or ignore it. You just let your awareness feel it. And that process is not TM. It is used when there is an agitated state of psychophysiology because it has the tendency of making the mind lazy and dull. And if you do that without focus, you just let your mind feel the physical discomfort, it will typically allow you to drift back to sleep. Now, if you learn TM, there is significant research that shows TM reduces anxiety and it also reduces insomnia. Because by meditating in the morning, you complement the quality of sleep that you had, so you're more well rested and you start your day calmer. And then instead of being active for 17 or 18 hours, 16 or 17 hours, you meditate again a second time in the late afternoon or early evening, and that neutralizes stress and fatigue buildup. And now you're calmer. And when you go to sleep at night, you sleep more easily because you're just overall less stressed. You're more relaxed. You're more well rested to start with. And then you'll find that you start to have very good sleep. And then it starts to get into a much better pattern. So meditation can help, but you can use that technique. And Sachin, you can share my email address and let me know how, was it Tilak? Had answered. Yeah. They can get in touch with me and I can make some other recommendations regarding yoga practice and so forth. Or of course, you can learn TM and that will help, but there are some other steps you can do as well.